This is Aaron Gross with the sports writer with the Defiance Crescent-News. We're here at the Black Lantern in Defiance, Ohio for the annual Captain's Luncheon. To my left is Napoleon head coach Tori Strock. To my right, Defiance head coach Jerry Beauty. Thanks for being here, guys.
Welcome.
Every year, this is the matchup that the area always looks for. Defiance versus Napoleon. It's the biggest, probably the biggest rivalry in the area. Just a few questions for you guys. First for Coach Beauty. With this rivalry, it seems like it's so evenly matched. Every game, you never really know who's going to be that winner until the final whistle blows. I mean, what does that bring to the rivalry when you have such an evenly matched group of teams like that?
Well, I can't speak for Tori, but it's probably fear, lots of fear going into the game, and you're nervous, and it's a nail-biter week. You worry about what you missed in practice, little things, details, and you got school starting the same time, so your kids are, diverted away maybe a little bit from the game, and then you try to keep them focused. So there's a lot goes into the game year-round, so it's just not practice time in the summer and in August. It's a year-round thing for everybody around here, and I would just say the unknown, and I will tell you this also: the more younger kids you put on the field in this game, the more you're at risk. So if you have younger kids, you're scared to death for them.
Oh, I guess I'll pose the same question to you, Tor. I mean, the way this, I think that evenness kind of even builds it up even more. It gets it even turned up that much more.
Well, it does, and as Coach said, you worry about, as you're going into the game, you worry about, did I leave some stones unturned and things like that, and there's going to be some mistakes because, as I know Coach will agree, this is like Ohio State, Michigan week 1, so there's going to be some mistakes because of the intensity. Obviously, you want to try to minimize those, and this will be my 7th Napoleon Defiance game, and there's only been one where the margin of victory has been, fairly wide. Other than that, it's a field goal, it's a touchdown, it's an extra point, and I think going in most years that's the way it's going to be. So you need a little luck. I mean, we've had some luck. There's been years they've had some luck. So it's every year it's a battle.
All right, and both teams lost a lot from both having playoff teams last year. For you guys, I believe you had 30 or 63 combined years of experience with Coach Milius and Coach Hummer departing. So I guess just comment on some of that upheaval, I guess, in the offseason.
Well, it's a transition period for us. Again, you talk about the experience of Coach Hummer and Coach Milius. I've promoted a couple of guys from within, and I've kind of handpicked a couple guys from the outside, and I like our staff. I think it's a cohesive bunch. I think we've got a nice blend of experience and youth, and I think the kids are. I think there's more teaching going on this summer than we've had. We've got a lot of new faces, as you said. We graduated some guys from that playoff team, but we've got some key guys back, and the newcomers, I think, are complementing those veterans well. So it has been a summer of transition, but I think the coaches and players have responded well.
And I guess maybe not on the coaching side for you guys, but some on the field with players like Trey Gilliam and Will Batt losing state what's the word I'm looking for? State caliber players, yeah. Mm-hmm. With a playoff team like that. So I guess just comment on the changes that you guys are going to be going with this season.
Well, if you've been in, I know Tori's been in it a long time too now, and I've been in a very long time, and that's just part of the game. And it's let's get on to the next year. You always expect people to step up and be the next Trey, and we've had guys, and Trey wanted to be that next guy, when he was in school, I'm sure. So that's just what football coaches and every other coach goes through every year, and that's what makes high school coaching what it is, and different from college and the pros. You get what is in your town, and we're very fortunate, and I think Tori would say the same thing, to be in communities that think it's important, and sports overall is important, and the fans get into it, and this is true high school football.
The last question for just the coaches. Me personally, I've actually, outside this rivalry, I've been to one Defiance Napoleon game, and just as a spectator, so I really didn't get that inside look at it from somebody that's not familiar with maybe the Defiance or the Napoleon communities. Just talk about what this rivalry is, and maybe why it's so popular, and what makes it Defiance Napoleon. That's all you really have to say with it, I guess, Jerry.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, well, you have two towns very similar. They're 15 minutes apart. A lot of the people work together. Some of them work over here in Defiance. Some of our people work in Napoleon. They have to listen to that stuff all year round. Our kids have to listen to it all year round. And, you know, just like I know in Napoleon, they have signs, or used to have signs, what have you done to beat Defiance today? And every time we play Napoleon in anything, any sport, it's beat Napoleon that day. You know, that's what makes it great. And I think people that work hard at it, I know Tori's staff works extremely hard at it. We have a lot of respect for them. Our kids are similar, hardworking kids, and I think if you talk about WBL football, Napoleon would be a great fit for WBL football. They are a WBL type team, so I think that's why it's a great rivalry.
Right, Tori?
Well, obviously Jerry's been involved in more of them than I have. This will be number 7 for me. But here's a couple things that I've learned, Aaron. Number one, it's everything that it's built up to be. It really is. And each year, I don't care how many you've coached in, the feeling's always the same. And I've also learned everything Jerry said I would agree with about the towns and the kids and that. But here's the thing. It's a classy rivalry. It's not a trashy, smack-talking, cheap shot rivalry. It's a classy rivalry. You know, this luncheon that the Crescent puts on for us, we get a chance to see the Defiance kids, and you look at them, you say, you know, they don't look all that bad. And they might say the same about our kids, but, you know, they're going to get after each other for 48 minutes. Jerry and I are going to, for 48 minutes, be mortal enemies. But I think there's a mutual respect, and it doesn't lessen the intensity of it, but I think that's what makes it really clean, because there's some matchups that are just filthy and trashy. And I don't think that our parents of our kids and our communities would tolerate that. But it's 48 minutes of everything that you've heard about that rivalry. It's true, but it's classy.
All right. After this, we'll talk to a couple of the players from each side here at the 8th Annual Captain's Luncheon here at the Black Lantern in Defiance, Ohio.
Did you know that you can have complete access to stories, pictures, and the e-edition at Crescent-News.com for just $7 a month? Become an online subscriber to Crescent-News.com now by calling me, Abby, at 419-784-5441, extension 233, or visiting the Crescent News online subscribe section on the top right corner of our homepage.
We're back here at the Black Lantern in Defiance, Ohio for the 6th Annual Captain's Luncheon, Defiance and Napoleon, the battle for the River Rock sitting in front of me. To my left, I've got Napoleon players Bo Cochran and Caleb Baldrich. To my right, Defiance players Savontre Vaughn and Wes Detter. Thanks for being here, guys.
Thank you.
Like I talked to your coaches earlier, and I posed the question, and I wanted to talk to you guys about it. I mean, as an outsider in the rivalry, maybe I don't see it, the inside view that maybe you guys get. What's it like being a part of this rivalry now as seniors? You had 4 years in this rivalry. I guess we'll start with Wes over here for Defiance.
It's the same feeling every year. I mean, you're probably the most nervous in this game, and it's just the best game all year. You can make or break your season.
Savontre?
Same thing what he said. When you lose a game like this one, it could get you down for like a little while. It's hard to come back the next week and get into the heart of your season and get going.
And then, Bo, I mean, I guess the thoughts you guys have been able to pick up a couple wins here lately in the rivalry. I mean, just talk about from you guys' perspective on one of the biggest rivalries in Northwest Ohio.
It's it's all we think about, like, seriously, the whole season. And I think it's one of the most important games to win. It'll definitely impact the whole season, depending on the outcome of the game. So it's a big one.
Yeah, like all these guys said, it's definitely one of the most nerve-wracking games of the season, because, I mean, from day one, starting from last year, everything we break on, beat dogs. I mean, it's all we focus on. So it's definitely one of our most important games.
And it's especially last year seemed like it was even more important. All 4 of you guys were on playoff teams a year ago. Obviously, Napoleon got the better. You guys got the better end of the matchup in the first game of the season, but you guys actually both ended the season in the playoffs. So I mean, that kind of ratchets up the intensity, I would think, when you know that not just the rock, but bigger stakes are on the line as well. I guess I'll start with you guys.
I guess so I don't even know where to start with that one.
I didn't really know the question.
I guess when you consider that both teams made the playoffs last year, I mean that's probably the ultimate goal. But I mean, it makes the winning the Defiance game even more important with all those points on the line and maybe being able to play in the postseason. So I mean, I guess just the feeling on that.
Yeah.
We can edit.
I don't really know how to answer that.
I'd say it definitely puts some stress on it, because then it's kind of like, oh, well, who actually is the better team? Like, maybe we got Defiance on a bad Friday night or something like that, or they got us on a bad Friday night, and then whoever goes further in the playoffs, I mean, sometimes you don't really know.
Yeah, like what he said, it determines. Well, yeah, you don't really know. You never know. Like, if we were to go farther in the playoffs, or if they were to go farther in the playoffs, I mean, you look back and you think about, like, what could we have done then to change the outcome.
A question I'm sure you guys probably aren't fond of hearing on the Defiant side. The last time you guys beat Napoleon was your freshman year, and this, I mean, your final year in blue and white. I guess talk about that final opportunity, and it's going to be you guys' final game in the River Rock rivalry.
It's definitely one I want a lot, since I didn't really experience it my freshman year. I experienced it more on the fan side than as a player, and it'd just be nice to get it as a player.
Yeah, same here. We were just remember Friday night when we were in the stands and watching our team, seniors at the time, take that rock inside the locker room and celebrate. And it was a good feeling from the fans side of it, but as players, we never really felt that.
And I guess just the last question is for the Napoleon captains here. You guys have won multiple games in a row here in the rivalry, and last year coming back, getting the stop at the end. I mean, so that's, I mean, the momentum that you can draw from last season's win. I guess just talk about how you can take that into this year.
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty good feeling, especially after beat teams like a rival with Defiance and everything like that. Personally, I got to play not as much as like throughout the season, like during the 2012 season, but I got to experience that a little bit with the seniors that year, and then even I got closer with the juniors from that year, so our seniors last year. I really got to experience the great feeling of beating Defiance last year with them. So
yeah, it's winning the game just shows, like, the game was so close. It just shows how much heart each teams have and how much they love the game. And I think either team could have won that game, but it's just how it goes sometimes. Like Coach was saying, both teams need a little bit of luck, and we seem to have it that day.
All right, thank all four of you guys for being here. Defiance Napoleon is going to kick off at Buckenmeyer Stadium on August 29th at 7 p.m. Hope to see everybody there, as I'm sure I share the sentiment for you guys. I guess happy football season.